Are you by, the other two are defense?
Yes.
Addison and Karla are defense. And Karla. Alright, darlings.
Okay. So the case that we're doing is over O.J. Simpson, and Noor is the prosecution, and Karla and I are the defense.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Noor, and I will be proving why O.J. Simpson is guilty. I hope you make the right decision in putting the murderer, not putting a murderer back on the streets and putting him in prison where he belongs. Even before the murders, he had a history of being violent, especially with Nicole. And like one time they found her like badly beaten, and he got away with it because he had a perfect record, and everybody just thought he was like this perfect guy who could do no wrong.
Good morning. My name is Addison. This is Karla Cassis. We will be presenting our client, Orenthal James Simpson, also known as O.J. Simpson. He's very famous for being in the NFL, for the 49ers and the Bills. There have been many instances of LAPD being racist and misogynist organization. I'm sure many of you have perhaps fallen victim to racism or misogyny. Today we will be discussing how my client fell victim as well. He was framed for a crime based on the color of his skin and his presence in the media. There is a true murderer in this crime, and it is not my client. I will prove how the true murderer is still out there and the police have not thoroughly completed their job.
Okay, so this is the scenario that I came up with. OJ and Nicole had a very abusive relationship, so it's no surprise that he kills her after yet another one of his relationships failed. He left his first wife in order to be with Nicole, but it didn't work out, so he probably held a lot of hatred for her. And he especially hated how she had like a supportive figure in her life, Ron, and he always cared for her and she cared for him, while he had no one because his wife just his girlfriend just broke up with him that morning. So he was feeling very unstable, and he had a flight that he was supposed to be going on, but right before the flight, he left the house. He was in his Bronco driving around where he tried to call Paula, his ex-girlfriend, and she didn't pick up, so he started driving towards Nicole's house, where he found out that Ron was with her, and he killed both of them. And after the murder, like, he freaked out, so he went to his son's house, probably for like help, where he might have left some of the evidence there. The evidence, for example, is like his footprint was at the scene of the murders, like in the blood. It was the type of shoe that he wore, and the same shoe size. There was blood in the Bronco of both Nicole and Ron. There was a hair on his shirt that's like from Ron, but he hadn't met Ron in like a while. He hasn't seen him in a while, so how is the hair on his shirt? The Bronco was actually seen like pretty close to Nicole's house, which is where the crimes were committed shortly before the murders. And there was a bloody glove that had Nicole's blood on it, and it was the type of glove that he used to wear before, but then he stopped wearing for a while. And at his house, they found there was a bloody sock that had Nicole's blood on it in his room.
So I'd like to say that there's a main reason as to why the prosecution's evidence cannot be trusted. It was found that when the first police officer arrived at the scene, there was a failure to properly close off the scene. In that failure, the police had failed to collect blood off the victim's back, and on top of this, there was a failure to collect an evidence, or in other words, there was exploitation of evidence. The man who found the bloody glove in my client's estate was the same man who used degrading, derogatory slurs against people based on the color of their skin. This man was supposed to be a man of justice, a man we are supposed to put our trust in. So how can we trust what the police say when he is the front of our justice system? And his opinion on a group of people is hateful.
You can argue that his son Jason was the killer or that the evidence against OJ was planted, but there's a lot of inconsistencies with that story, so it renders the argument invalid. The cops being racist may have been unethical to the case, but it doesn't make him any less guilty. Because like that cop's a reality, and the one working on OJ's case may have been biased, but that doesn't mean he will tamper with the evidence against him. There are too many things that place him at the scene that no one else can control, such as his shoe print, the Bronco, and the trace evidence found with him, tying him to the scene. None of those dirty cops could have influenced those things. Therefore, the argument doesn't make any sense. Arguing his son was the murderer may make sense at first, but what if the evidence found there didn't belong to him but OJ? There's nothing there to prove that the clothing and the knife belonged to Jason and not his dad. And my closing argument is, there's a lot of controversy surrounding this case, but one thing for sure is the killer shouldn't be allowed back in public. Who's to say he won't do it again after all? A leopard never changes his spots. If we allow ourselves to be deceived by this manipulative tactics, we will never know the truth as to who killed Nicole and Ron. Luckily, the evidence speaks for itself. It places him at the scene of the crime, and it gives him enough motive to go after two innocent people trying to live their lives away from his suffocating control. I hope you make the right decision and put the murderer in prison where he belongs.
Alright, so our evidence is the Furman tapes. If you don't know who Mark Furman is, he is the police officer that supposedly found the sock at my client's house that had the blood of both victims on it. How are we supposed to trust a man who, in these tapes, uses slurs against people of color? He's supposed to be a man of justice and he's supposed to protect us, but he's a racist man, which is proven in these tapes. This glove, as we know, that was found, but it does not fit my client. They found it, but it does not fit my client. We have proven it, and the knife, the weapon that we have used, that my client we have used as an example of what the prosecution thinks is the weapon. This is a weapon that was found in my client's son's house. This is not found in my client's home. It is found in the garage of the son, Jason Simpson. Jason Simpson has also had a history of being on medication and being on drugs at the age of 14. This shows a file from a psychiatric facility that proved that whenever Jason would get off of his medication, he would become violent. 4 months before the murder, Jason Simpson was attacking his girlfriend with a knife, a similar weapon used in the murder of this case. At the time, he was also on probation, Jason Simpson, for attacking his boss with a knife as well. Similar motives, similar weapons. He saw my client's ex with another man who acted out on violence.
Time and time again throughout this case, the police haven't performed their job well. Due to exploitation of evidence, they ended up destroying evidence, and outside of that, they are proved to be racist. Who says the police themselves planted some evidence or even moved evidence around? Every citizen has a right to plead the fifth, but why would an innocent police officer who is supposed to be a good guy have nothing to say? Wouldn't he want to prove that he's an innocent man? The evidence that we presented today proves our theory. This theory being that Jason Simpson, the son of O.J. Simpson, who has a history of drug abuse at the age of 14, he heard that Ronald Goldman was at the ex-stepmother's house, and Jason went over with an axe and a hunting knife. He began to attack and kill not only Ron, but also Nicole. He got home and hid the axe, bloody clothes, and cap in the AC unit. Police decided to be hateful and racist and just pin it on O.J. In conclusion, our client has been framed and he claims his innocence. Plus,
If it does not fit, he has to quit.
You have your closing statement.